Hello, YouTubers. This is another session where we continue our journey here building OData Neo. In the last session, we talked a little bit about being able to build a tokenization service that is agnostic enough. It doesn't really care about a select or a filter or an order by or whatever the case may be. And sorry about the little delay. Hey Nick, how are you doing?
What's up, Hassan?
Yeah, oh man, sorry about I took kind of an entire week completely offline, just when kids get sick, they don't just do this, they go and cough straight in your face and then, you deal with the consequences. What's up,
Kids
Paul?
are germ bags.
There he is. He's not died. He's
I'm
still
not
alive.
I'm not dead. I'm not dead, not just yet. Not just yet. How are you guys doing?
Not bad. I started doing elite code, and
Uh-oh.
I
When
fucking
PMs
hate
start
it.
writing code, that's just a sad situation.
No, elite code.
Oh, leak
Elite
code.
code.
No, I know leak code. Yeah. Why are you why?
I have been testing the market, and it's like it's the way a lot of places evaluate people, and I have my opinions on it, but that's irrelevant if I'm looking for a position at a company that I want to work at. I have to see that I meet their requirements.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's something that I'm looking at. It's interesting because, like, don't get me wrong, I get the foundation on which, like you say, oh yeah, like algorithms, data, and whatnot. At the same time, I'm going to ask you right back, how are you using this in your day to day, right?
You don't.
If your answer is not good, that's kind of a red flag for me. And to be honest, I think I mean, so like I've run the internship program where I'm at, and I also I'm very heavily involved in the interviewing or evaluation of resources that want
Yep.
to join our organization.
Yep.
We threw out those things, not because we think that there's no value to them, but when we asked internally the question, how is this used in a day to day? We couldn't justify it. So
Yep.
we found exercises that we felt better modeled the work that we felt people for candidates for these roles would encounter on a day-to-day basis, and work to ensure that those models, those tests, gave us the insight that we were looking for, which we felt helped us evaluate the candidate better. And
Mm-hmm.
we're finding that that's getting, well, at least we feel for our roles, better candidates.
Yep.
Now, for Google or Microsoft or whatever, that may differ. Maybe
Yep.
you're doing that low level algorithmic work every single day. If you're, God bless, right? Go,
Mm-hmm.
go with it,
Mm-hmm.
right?
I
But
love that mindset. I love that mindset. Let me tell you a project I'm, playing with outside of work that is really near and dear to my heart. So, I just realized I've been doing this for 21 years. That's a long time, enough for me to understand that, you're not gonna go into a situation where you need to order a byte array, in a tree, in recursion and all
mhm,
that kind of stuff. You do need these things, but not as often as you may think,
mhm.
you should. So have you guys ever heard of get file? Did I tell you about get file before?
No.
So I went and said, okay, this is nonsense. I'm gonna go and build a system. It's called get file. And what this system does is that it basically, reads your open source code
Mhm.
and evaluates you based on your code. So you don't have to write
Oh,
a
wow.
resume. Yeah. So you
Huh.
don't have to write a resume about yourself. It looks at your code and then it will say, okay, based on your code, you're a coder or a programmer or a developer or an engineer or whatever your level is.
Hmm.
And it even says how much percentage of that work that you did have you done pairing with people. So your
Ooh.
code, your data says whether you're a collaborative engineer, you're able to work with people and whatnot. And then it also evaluates based on your code whether you're leaning back end a little bit more, you're full stack, but you're leaning a little bit more into the back end. It'll write your resume for you. But more importantly than this, it'll show you where your strengths are. So I broke again, you guys saw in the channel, we talk about the engineering standard, right? So I broke every single activity you may need into building a software into smaller portion and pieces. and then it'll tell you where your strengths are. Are you an infrastructure more than foundation services guy, base guy? And then it tells you your progress on the open source community. It even tells you how much average time you would take to complete a certain task or a certain category.
Wow.
And then let's say I'm a little bit low on the view services, right? It takes me a little bit of longer time and I'm not really working so hard on that. It'll tell you what kind of skill sets, what kind of technologies you've actually worked on and how often, when was the last time you've used that technology,
Wow.
right? Based on your code. But then it'll say, hey, here's all the open source projects that are standard compliant that you can go today and actually work on it. Now, let's say someone is just, just someone is just joining the system and they don't know what it is. I give them a code example. This is an already merged PR of how to
Mhm.
complete this task, something similar to it. I give them the chapter in the standard that talks about that particular task. I even give them a YouTube video like the one you and I are working, like the one we're recording right now, that shows them how to do this step by step. And if they run out of all of these options, they can just click on the question mark and I'll just take them straight to my LinkedIn so they can ask me any questions they have. So why am I doing this? First of all, I want to make sure, like the idea of get file is to basically make sure that people are being um, uh, recognized and rewarded based on their actual effort, not how much they kiss the manager's ass or how much the manager likes them. We don't have that nonsense. That's number one. Number two, I want to
I'm a
make sure.
manager.
Yeah, just this thing is an elimination process of careerism. The idea of careerism, like
Mhm.
I'll just work hard enough to get promoted or rewarded. That's just gonna just immediately eliminate that, and it'll bring a little bit of visibility and focus. And it has a lot of other aspects. Like I'm basically rethinking our industry. So imagine this, Nick, if you're having a platform like this, you will never have to have interviews. I don't need to
Yeah.
interview you. I already see the data.
Mhm.
You will never have to be in a team. Like, let's say you want to take a 20-day vacation,
Mhm.
right? Okay, pick up tasks that will get you paid enough for the month and then go take your vacation. So the idea of structured, and it has a lot more impact than this, but this session is more about OData than get files. Go ahead.
You'll like this. So you know how,
Go
like,
ahead.
I'm sure you come across anyone who's in a corporate environment who comes across this. So for example, we go to our portal, right? It's
Uh-huh.
Workday to put in, requests for vacation. No, I am not requesting that I'm not going that for the time.
I'm
I am not
taking.
going to be here, and this is me telling you when I'm not going to be here, and you need to figure it out. Okay.
I like that.
I will never have someone who works for me. And I have people who have it's like, hey, this is this is you. You tell me, that's it. I got to work around it. I got to make that work.
Yeah,
That's not
because
my
you
place to tell
sometimes
you.
sometimes you need to take your vacation, sometimes you need to take your time. By the way, I even heard about places where vacation is unlimited. Like
That's a scam. That's a scam.
that's a scam. Is that what it
So
is?
here's the thing, right?
Uh,
I have
uh,
if you have X number of days, at least in the US, I don't know how it works on
uh,
in other
uh,
countries. In the US, right? If I have X number of vacation days, let's say I quit at the end of the year. Let's say I took none of my vacation days,
uh-huh.
right? If I take none of those vacation days, my employer is legally obligated to pay me for those days if I
Uh-huh.
leave.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
However, with unlimited PTO, there's no such thing. You have
They don't
none
have to
accrued, you
pay.
have none left
Yeah.
over,
And it
right?
doesn't roll over. Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
there's a very real cash advantage to the
Yeah.
employer doing that.
Yeah.
Two, there's studies that show that people who have unlimited that people who have unlimited PTO don't take them at the same
They
amounts, like,
don't. They're scared.
as
Yeah, they're kind of worried. They don't know. Like if I take that vacation, am I gonna
exactly.
be replaced? Like this is
So
probably a lot of
from a health standpoint, like a mental set, like you don't
yeah,
get it, right?
yeah,
Like, and
yeah,
like you end up working more. So
yeah,
I mean, not saying don't do it, but be very aware of what that environment is like versus having a fixed number of days, right?
yeah,
Which, are already written off in terms of your salary, in terms of like, so, you know, I go and take more of them and know that, go take as many as you can. Take that 5 or 6 weeks,
yeah.
total.
What about you, Paul? How's your vacation doing in the United Kingdom?
What's a vacation?
What's a big
Stop it. Oh, you left the EU, so you don't get those protections anymore. You have like, go Brexit, right?
From what I heard, the US is one of the few countries in the world that doesn't have like a minimum requirement on how much employees are entitled to in terms of
Mm-hmm.
vacations, and it's
Mm-hmm.
down to you as an employee to negotiate that as part of
Mm-hmm.
your contract terms. Whereas here, even though we're not in the EU anymore, in the UK, there's this sort of minimum mandatory requirement that we did inherit ultimately from the EU as a sort of law that was brought in whilst we were a member. But
Mm-hmm.
it essentially means that every employee in the UK gets a number. I think it's like 20 days or something per year, plus
Wow.
all bank holidays. So I think it works out about 25 paid holidays per year is like the minimum legal requirement for a full-time employee. But there is something to be said that employees, we have to sign an additional waiver if we want to work more than 48 hours as well. That's
Mm-hmm.
part of
Mm-hmm.
EU law. Yeah. Otherwise, legally, our employer cannot ask us to work more than 48 hours without us having signed that piece of paper. So
That's
when you think,
crazy.
when you think about it like that, we're quite well off in terms of sort of, my understanding is the difference between sort of like the US and the EU and other sort of countries across Europe is that the laws very much favour the employer in the US, whereas here in the EU, or
Mm-hmm.
not, as the case may
Mm-hmm.
be,
Mm-hmm.
the laws are a bit more balanced and give employees more protection and rights to be able to sort of work under fair terms, essentially.
That's
Workers'
pretty
rights
cool.
are not something that are there's you're absolutely right. There's a lot in this country in the U.S. that is structured in favor of the employer,
Yeah.
and at least in comparison to the UK and the EU, absolutely. I don't want to make everyone cringe because I'll go totally like leftist on it, but that comparison is absolutely apt. Yeah,
You know what?
it's
You know what the UK just did? They just passed. So they were challenging. They were challenging us. To basically. So you know how you could have like a monthly subscription of a service and you forget about it, and it continues to charge your account, right?
yes.
This happens with me all the time. So what the UK did, they said, okay, guys, if you are on the Xbox Game Pass, you need to check out the people that are inactive on their accounts, and you need to and
Oh,
you need
that's
to re,
nice.
and you need to refund them, and you need to tell them we're gonna cancel your Xbox Game Pass subscription if you're not gonna be using it. I thought that was pretty
That's
cool.
fantastic. That really
I
is fantastic.
I think that's gonna change, and the guy in the UK is saying, Spotify, Google, Amazon, take note because we're gonna apply the same thing. I was like, these
Gym
British,
memberships.
yeah, yeah,
Gym.
yeah, gym memberships, right? You can't get out of those. It's like the plague. Once you get it, you can get it out,
I, s-
like.
I still go to gym, so like fairly regularly, so like it does serve me. So
Man, how crazy is that?
yeah, I mean,
Anyway,
like you know,
mm,
like
mm,
listen, there's a lot of people on this planet. It would be nice if we kind of took care of them. Did a better job in general of taking care of them.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I'm right with you there. Right with you, right there. Okay, so I don't know where Sam is, but we can kick off where we left off. The last time we talked about the tokenization, and I basically talked a little bit about the idea of let me put you guys here on the right. The benefits of having a big ass monitor. This is what. Here you go. So this is where we stopped. We said we're gonna have this O node, and oh no, and we're gonna basically pick up a query like this, and we're gonna break up that query accordingly, just like that. So you have a select, node, and then you have basically a filter. So this is select to name. What's that? What did we do here? This is select. Oh yeah, select name. Yeah, that's right. So so you have the query, which is the type, and the children of that query would be the name. Is that right, you guys? Does that sound like what we agreed
Mhm.
on? Let me zoom in a little bit.
So I would say there's a couple of things I would change here. The root
Go ahead.
node, I would give it a type of root or something, just so that it's consistent with the rest of the hierarchy.
Oh, this guy here?
No,
This
no,
guy here?
the root.
Oh,
So the root,
oh, this
yeah,
guy, like type. Okay, gotcha. So this
yeah.
guy would be type, yeah, like
And I would
root.
also say something that is an OData parameter should have a type of parameter or OData parameter or something. So it's like a consistent thing. So like the select and the filter would be labeled as such. So they would just be labeled parameter nodes. And then
like parameter, just like this.
yeah.
Nice.
And then obviously, I'm just thinking further down the line when we come to map handling of that, we've got some consistency in our structure. But yeah, I mean, largely when you had it all, I think there was a point last week or week before when we were last here where we had the select bit, and then you'd also added in the filter bit as well. So you could see that there was, two children of the root node, and the first child was the select, and the second child was the filter.
Oh yeah. Sam was like, okay, what if you do this, and you go and say, well, you have the filter here, right? So we basically went and said, okay, you have your children. This is for this root, but this guy has its own thing, and then this guy here has its own thing. I don't know why I deleted that. That's kind of weird, but
I think it's important to make a statement about this structure, and it should be written somewhere, like in plain
yes,
English.
yes,
This structure is intended to be processed in order from from depth all the way from the lower left all the way to the lower right, right? So we have a root, they have children, but you can so I'm not sure that, or rather is it, oh sorry, no, it'll be from top to bottom. So the first node, that's the part that you process, then the
Yep.
children, first node, the child, second node, and then all of its children, then all, like, whatever it is, it should be very clear that this is ordered and how that order should be processed, because we're not going to be able to capture unless we want to do work. And I don't think it should be captured here, but unless, we should be very explicit somewhere about saying this is the order in which it should be processed, or rather it is intended to be processed, or rather it was evaluated from the original expression, right?
Not just that, I think that the node structure that we have here should directly reflect what we've got in the query. So if the select parameter is the first parameter, the model should be generated with the select parameter nodes being the first.
Yes,
Yeah. So there's a
100%.
direct reflection of exactly what the query is here in the model.
Right. So I'm just trying, by the way, I'll add this to the documentation because this is really important. See, I was thinking about this last week while I was sick, and one of the things I thought about was, wait a second, you know what we're doing here? We're not dictating how the OData query is going to be processed. Like we're giving them a tokenized query that they can work with. But on the other end, whoever is going to capture that and process it, of course, we're going to do that part like out of the box. It's like including batteries in your toy before you sell it. But, us actually adding these components is just one way that we are allowing, like if we want to build it as a tree outside of this tokenized, output, or we want to build it as, however we want to build it, it doesn't matter. Like I sent an email, by the way, to these Roslyn guys. I'm waiting on them to respond. If we come back and say, okay, how we're processing this, we're gonna unplug this and plug it in a different way. It should be stupid simple. I'm a simple guy. I want to keep it simple, and we probably should stick to that. So let's just go back to this part here. Because I'm gonna
It's a
try
good
to write.
point as well, because
Go ahead.
the reason why we mentioned the Roslyn guys is essentially tokenization and effectively code generation off the other end of that. Is essentially the same problem, right? If you process things out of order, then you're going to get a different block of code. So that's the key principle that we're aiming for here, is that what you want is your original OData string to reflect ultimately the object model, and then the object model reflects the results that you want out the other end.
I love this. I love this a lot. Yep, absolutely. So this is here what? This is an operator. Or what did we call this, you guys? We said this is an operator, but we said the EQ is something. Um, we could
So
call it.
it's also an operator, isn't it?
Yeah, but this operator is different. Like this is like when you say filter blah, just like this. Um, let
Oh, the equal
Call it an
sign one.
assignment.
I would
Yeah,
take those out.
Call it a parameter assignment.
parameter
Call the equal
assignment.
sign parameter assignment, or OData parameter assignment.
But the equal signs, I thought we said we would take those out because it's kind of a given, right? That a parameter
It's always,
has a
oh yeah,
value.
that's right. That's
Yeah.
absolutely right. Yeah, that makes this an operator then, Nick, or Paul. This is value,
Yeah.
and then this is EQ. We're gonna put these in enums and stuff and make it really cute. But let's just go back here, and then this guy would be another node, and the type here would be let's see. So is it filter name equal, and then in here what, a constant?
Constant.
Yeah, and then value would be Sam, like this.
You probably, I mean, not to be pedantic, but you
Hmm?
want to capture, you have to capture the quoting as well.
For Sam, sure.
Yeah.
Like this,
Yeah.
sure. We could do that, right?
Because that
Now,
may be important down the line to determine whether or not you've got a one as a string or a one as an integer, for example.
I agree. I agree. So let's see how we're gonna do this, you guys. I'm gonna go write a function. So I know now for sure that we need, let me let me save this somewhere because I'm gonna blow up this entire thing in a second. Let's see, note. Have you guys tried the dark mode notepad yet? It's pretty cool.
No, I use Notepad++.
Sweet.
I haven't tried it yet.
You don't
I,
use VS Code?
I
No,
have
you said
dark mode
Notepad.
everything.
I use. By the way, I don't know. Windows 11 has been acting funny recently. Is it just me?
Oh, Hassan's not going to be here next week.
That's okay, man. That's the hell I'm gonna die on.
Just going to be Sam.
It's just imagine Sam showing up in the next year and be like, "Hi guys, I'm gonna be running the show now." But something is missing. I can't think what it is, but something is missing in the meeting.
First
They're always
rule of
watching.
Windows Club.
Yeah, yeah. All right. So let me open up Notepad.
You're missing
Notepad, if I can find it.
a closing brace there somewhere
For what? For the
between your two arrays, I think, at the bottom.
So this is an array.
If you go right down to the bottom, you've got two closing arrays. I think you're missing a closing brace in there.
Oh yeah, you're right. You're right. So yep, absolutely. Yep, right there. So okay, and I don't know, let's see, why is this guy mad? Because I completely destroyed the yeah, there you go. I should be happy now. Come on, be happy. You can do it. There you go. So let me just let's see, where's Notepad here? I can't, like, for the life of me, I'm typing on this search thing in the middle. I feel like Windows is starting to look a little bit like Apple now with the middle kind of thing.
I
You
think
guys, you
you
guys
brought
didn't
this
know.
up before. I said that the lack of the grouping, the inability to ungroup is the thing
Hmm.
that bothers me most. That's like the highest requested thing on like user feedback for like Windows 11 is to be
Hmm.
able to ungroup those icons.
Why
Hmm.
didn't Microsoft just come out and call it Windows Apple Edition?
Man, this project's dead.
All right. Okay. So so instead of a filter service, I'm just gonna revert all of this nonsense. And then I'm gonna go into something called tokenization service, and that's really what we need. And out of this tokenization service, we'll be able to kind of map back and forth things, for people to, let's see here. So we have models and services, perfect. So let me go back to master or main branch in here. Hi, Sam.
Hey, it's Sam.
I thought you kind of bailed on me. I was like, okay, I'm doing this on my own. This hurts.
Sorry, I have a
This
conflict this morning
You
at
had
the
a conflict.
village.
Okay, Sam.
What did I miss?
What time of the day is perfecter for you, so I can set it up to fit your calendar. Don't worry about me. I'm a manager. I can tell people when I want to show up and when I don't. But when do you want? When do you want to actually show up? I know Paul would love for these meetings to be at 10 p.m. PST. I have that in the back of my head. Nick, what's your situation? Are you cool? You're just cool? Is
Yeah,
that it?
whatever. If I'm here, I'm here. Like I've been here so far. But morning ZST work for me generally, depending on the day.
Are you CST, Nick?
I'm
11,
no, I'm in New York. New York,
Oh,
baby.
EST. You're
I'm
3 hours
EST.
away. Is it is it
11 PST would
is
be
it
better.
11 over there? Okay, okay. Okay. 11 PST for you, Paul, would be
Would,
better.
would be ideal, yeah. It's just that equates to about 7 my time, which is when the
Okay.
girls go to bed, so you won't get so much of this background noise.
Okay.
Yeah.
I keep muting this brother. It's breaking my heart. It's kind of sad. I don't want to mute. I don't want to mute Paul. I want to hear his. When he speaks, I feel like he's adding culture to the conversation. I don't know what he's talking about, but he's making it legitimate. You know how in the American movies they have to bring a British guy to be the lawyer or something just to make things sound real?
Give things credibility, yeah.
So you can think about Paul as our diversity hire here. Just here.
It's the horrible accent. I realize it makes me very difficult to understand. Yeah.
By the way, Paul, which part of England are you from? Because your accent is not, you're not in the north, are you?
No, no,
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
south. Originally,
Probably.
I was from Plymouth, which is pretty much the biggest south city that you get to before you get into the middle of nowhere. What we call Land's End, which is the little boot
Okay,
bit at the end.
okay,
Um,
okay.
but yeah, and these days I'm living a lot closer to London way, but not in London.
Did I ever tell you I lived in England for a while, for like a year, and then at a time I was teaching programming. I was teaching C sharp. And I lived in Teesside. Do you know Teesside? Teesside? How do you
Yeah,
say it?
yeah.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool place. I liked people there. It's pretty cool bunch of folk. Okay, let's see. So in here we have an object, and that is type. Sam, are you ready? We're gonna write some unit tests today. Do you want to do that with me? Huh?
Yes, go ahead.
He's
Okay.
been threatening that for
So
weeks. Let's see what rabbit hole we
Sounds
end
like,
up
oh,
in.
we're writing code. Shit.
Wait, is that part of? Are we actually gonna do this finally? Jeez, you know. All right. So let me just put the model here real quick.
what's your order code?
What's what?
Your order code?
Oh, where is my older code?
Yeah.
I basically threw it away because we were just kind of scratching things. I have it somewhere. I just don't care to keep it anymore because I wanna like, start over. You know what I mean? Let me disable this
You don't
nonsense.
like the
Huh, tell me.
nullable?
Yeah, I don't like that. Yeah, that nonsense.
No, no.
God is my witness. I'm gonna disable that nonsense like natively in every template, so 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 we don't have to use it. And the one file namespace. Looks like Nick is super excited about that one. He likes that one.
I cannot wait until you have a unit test that fails because of the null reference exception. Like I'm gonna laugh my ass off at
See,
you.
see, see, that's the funny thing. You'll see how I write my code. That's not even a thing. It's not even a thing for me. Like
No, but
having
here's the thing.
Mhm.
If you tell me your solution to that is the maybe type, we gotta like I'm done with all of it.
Let's take a look, see what I do, and then determine, right? Okay, so here's services, and then I'm gonna write tokenizations, and then under that, I'm gonna put an interface here, a tiny cute interface that says I want an interface, and I'm gonna call it Tokenization Service. And I don't know why StreamYard doesn't show the dialogues that pop up. That kind of breaks my heart, but here we are.
Hmm.
Okay, so what am I expected to return? I expect to return an O node, and then tokenized. tokenize, and it's gonna just take a raw query. Okay, people? Any objection to what I'm doing here?
No,
Yes? You have an objection? Okay.
no.
Okay. Here's your objection. Put it right here. Just missing
What is the
Just had,
interesting?
had a
You
thought.
know, yeah.
Thought. Go back to your JSON.
Okay. To my JSON?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go back to
So,
the JSON. This is so embarrassing, but I couldn't actually open the notepad, so I ended up doing this, you guys. I'm sorry. It's really embarrassing, but I went on a web page to write that stuff. Here's my JSON right here.
we were
So
talking
something
about getting fired
like,
earlier.
to be mindful of.
Actually, let me get a real. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Nick. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, like, I mean, just kind of be aware that we're living in the performance optimized world of .NET 6, right? So
Mm-hmm.
spans and whatnot. Materializing a string may not be necessary, right? Think about where this is going to plug in,
Mm-hmm.
right? And how we may want to consider the modeling of those input parameters all the way down, especially in something like this, which is going to be like akin to a GraphQL endpoint or whatnot, which may see very high workloads, right?
Okay. Okay.
Because it's just something to think about, right? Whether we want to take
Mhm.
a span of character, maybe even a stream of bytes, right? And do
Mhm.
that, it's something to think about.
Absolutely. I'm very open to that. I
But for
like
now,
that.
let's stay with the strings and like we can,
Okay. Sounds good.
So
I'm okay with that too.
the
Mm-hmm.
reason why I've dragged you back here
Mm-hmm.
is there's thinking about kind of implementations further down the line. You need to know
Right.
what you're building.
Mhm. Go ahead, Paul.
You need to know what you're building a query on, and that's usually a segment from the OData URL that is a representation of some type or some set start point, if that makes sense. So I
Uh-huh.
wondered if the root node should have a value of whatever that is.
What would that be?
Well, so let's say, I've mapped my OData context to, / OData in my application.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be the immediate next segment after that in the URL.
Right.
So we
Oh,
would take
so
that value, and that would be, so that would be like your, I don't know, let's say this is your people endpoint or person or something. So
mm-hmm.
you'd say value person on the root node,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because then that gives you an idea of what you're building. Let's say we're building a link expression tree out the other end. We know that we need an iQueryable of type person to begin
Oh,
with, if that makes sense. And I feel like we've missed that unless we, however, depending on the implementation and the usage further down the chain, I don't know if that's important or not.
it actually doesn't matter, right? Because you
Yeah.
don't care what, from my perspective, and we'll come to Sam in a second because he also wanted to say something, but from my perspective, this service takes a raw query and make tokens out of it, and then whoever is downstream that is going to execute on the actual storage knows which entity it wants to operate on. Because eventually this component is going to be linked to the integration or storage broker that knows which entity it's trying to target anyway. Like
Yeah.
it doesn't really.
Kind of answers my question then, doesn't it? Is that it's probably not important. But I did wonder, so I thought I'd ask while we were here,
Yeah.
thinking about this piece of it.
Sam, what were you going to say? What do you have? Tell me. Sam. Sam, shoot.
Remove the command line at line 28.
Okay,
Comma.
line 28. This
Equal.
comma here?
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Sure.
It's valid, right?
No, it's not. I'm missing something big actually, I think. So this is that, and then this is that, and this is this. And then this is the filter. What am I missing? Why is it barking at me? Do you guys know? What JSON data is not valid, but I'm not gonna tell you why. It's a secret. Hold on, let me do that again. Okay, where is the problem? Nope, this is the worst
paste
viewer
it in
I've
the
ever.
Discord. That way we can all like use whatever tools we want.
Yeah, I'll send it
'Cause
in
I'm looking
Discord.
at like 2 dots on a screen right now. I can't
Oh,
see
it's not
anything.
showing? It's not showing on your
No, but I
side?
mean, it's all of us on this column, then half of the JSON squished into the half of
That's
the
right.
screen,
That's right.
right?
That's right.
So, let's see what this is.
Why is it not valid? So this is the root children,
Share.
and then under the children, you have type parameter, comma, children. I'm kind of disappointed in myself that I can't see it. Let me get another JSON viewer. Okay, online JSON viewer.
Here we go.
Did you find it?
Hold on, I'm looking at it now.
No, the JSON is good. Look, it was able to render it.
Hmm.
This site is a joke. That's what it is.
Yeah, yeah,
Yep.
it looks
No,
valid.
for
Just
real. So it's saying JSON data is not valid, but
no, something's wrong here. Hold on. Oh,
what?
I think probably because none of the valid JSON, the properties are quoted.
String.
None of these properties are quoted.
Oh, because it wants a single quote?
No, because so like the property names, type, children, type,
Oh,
value, children, all those need to be quoted.
oh dear.
Are you
So,
serious? Is that
For
why?
JSON, yeah. It's a valid JavaScript structure, but not JSON.
That's a good point, Nick. Anyway, all right. Okay, fine. I'll go back to this one because this other one is too strict. No, you're right. No, absolutely right. I agree. Okay, so here's our thing. This is our JSON, you guys, and this is our structure. So Sam, you wanted me to render that JSON and put it back here. What did you want to say? Go ahead.
nothing.
Sam,
Go
shoot.
ahead.
You made me do all of this and then nothing? Okay. Fine, Sam. If I didn't like you too much, we would have had a different conversation. Nothing. Just I
Just go ahead.
decided. Look, it's a power move. I feel like it's just a power move. Hey, show me this in JSON for no reason at all. Whatever, Sam. All right, here. So there's this guy, and then let's add this here. Okay, so here's our service, and then down here, I'm gonna go and create services. Excuse me. Services. And then under services, there will be foundations. And under foundations, there will be tokenizations. I should probably move this tokenization one. And then here is the class, and here is tokenization service tests. Is the text or the code visible to you guys? Can you actually see it?
Yeah.
Okay.
What do you
Makes me
have the foundations?
Oh, foundations, because there will be processing and orchestrations and coordinations. I should probably
If you
put
want to put
foundations.
that new, yeah,
I
new
should put it in here
protocol.
like this, and I can move this up here, right?
Yeah.
And then see, and then I can go here and say dot foundations, right?
Mm.
Right? Okay. So here's that guy, and then if you guys are not familiar with why I'm putting these, you just read the standard. You'll understand. It's really it's
It's
interesting.
hard to understand your standard book.
The standard is hard to understand. Okay, that's good. That's money. That's job security right there.
Don't worry, as we've already figured out this week, anything that Hassan writes, we'll probably just throw it away next week anyway.
That's right. Exactly. There you go. There it is. All right. So let me do a private. Eventually, we're gonna have some dependencies, but we're not there yet. So I'm just gonna go here and say read only tokenization service. So here's my tokenization service. Pull in the dependency. Boring,
Why
boring. Yeah, go
do we
ahead.
declare the class as partial?
Because we're gonna add ones for logical test and validation test and exception handling tests. I actually do leverage the partials in C# in a beautiful way. You're gonna love it. It's great. Okay,
So
so
you are trying to justify your creation of a God object by saying that because it's split across files, it's
yeah,
okay?
yeah.
Okay.
It's my ideology and my upbringing just reflecting in the code.
Jesus. Uh,
You guys are working with me for the first time. When I write code, I get a little tipsy, a little happy. All right, so there's that guy, and then I'm gonna go here and just do a logical. So this is gonna be the logic in here. So see, I do this, and I go and say dot logic, right? And this guy becomes partial too, and I don't need this, and I go write my tests in there. So you have this, actually it's the other file. So you have this root file that has the instantiation of everything, and then you have this partial files nested out of it. And in fact, actually in Visual Studio, like you'll see here in some projects, it actually nests right under this file. Like these files will start nesting under it, which is, it's really beautiful. I think. I don't know. You guys, tough crowd. Anyway.
I mean, personally, I would just create separate types because the overhead and like the overhead there is minimal in my opinion.
Mm.
But to me, this is a stylistic difference.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
I'm
just a
not.
preference.
This is not the thing that this is not a hill I die. I'd be like, all right, whatever. It's the way you do it.
Yeah, it's just a preference. And since we're not really doing a, we don't
Although
have any.
this personally disgusts me. It's
Did,
so unnecessary.
do you know why people do this like
I
that?
do because they get lazy and they don't use underscores for private variables like good freaking programmers should.
Okay, so underscores, right? Is that what you're saying, right? Is that
Yeah,
your
yeah,
thing?
I like this pattern. I don't like to type this dot
Okay, so
because
can I explain why I'm doing this, and can we
mm,
have this argument? Because I actually started a fire on Reddit because of that. You know, I literally started a
I would
fire on
not
Reddit the other day. Like literally, I'm sick, and you'd think, oh, this guy is sick. He's not supposed to say anything. Nope, I'm gonna go start a fire while I'm sick. You know, just to so here's the deal. This here, just so you guys understand, when people actually started writing the specification, the original specification of C sharp. This is the original one from 1997,
Yep.
right? How did people end up starting to write this underscore? If you just go like this and do underscore, there it is. Hold on. So here's the private. Okay, let's see. Is that the one? This one, this one. Yeah, there it is. So this is how, you know, it started. Like, you know, C sharp at a time didn't have this kind of identifier, and they wanted some way to kind of distinguish private class members from a local variable. So they used to do this underscore C because that period wasn't there, or the full stop for Paul, just to make sure that I'm diverse enough in my language here. So people, instead of people actually saying, oh, C sharp now can support this .c, they went and said, no, it's definitely the underscore. That's the point of it. Even though the underscore was just a placeholder due to the limitation of the language at a time, you know? And then people just started using it. And I'd be like, no, that's not that's.
I'm pretty sure that the underscore existed on Win32 programming in the C files as well.
On C
And
and C++, yes, but not C sharp. That's a different
no, I
programming
get that,
language.
but you have to remember where C sharp kind of came from, right?
Right,
C sharp was
right.
like, oh, hey, Sun is doing Java, and we want to have an easier way of having people access Microsoft technologies that can compete with Java without burdening them with with C++ and
Yep.
C. So let's do C sharp, right?
Okay,
So
okay,
that's
okay, so
those are
you're
the
right.
inputs there, right?
Okay, so hang on. Okay, you're right. Okay, let me ask you this. You know, actually, before we do that, there's this new brother here joining us. Hi, Zach. Do you have a camera? Zach Pack.
Oh, 04.
Oh, 04.
He's like the
No,
Wayuns
no,
in
no.
like Deep Space Nine. He's like the fourth iteration of Zach Pack. And then when he passes, the fifth one will come. And then Wayun got to 9, right? And we saw Worf take out like 8, So
Oh, there he is. Hi,
oh,
Zach.
hey, Zach,
Hey, you're on mute, brother.
there he is.
Hi,
Hi, how are you?
fine, fine.
Zach, are you under a door, like looking at this from under?
Yeah, close, close there. The Zach Papak It's the started works from my name. It's Zacharias,
Mm-hmm.
and the last is Papa Christ, like that.
Mm. Mm.
So I try to connect them
Okay. Okay. Nice to meet you, Zach. Zach, where are you from, if I may
from
ask?
Greece. From
Greece.
Greece.
Nice.
Yes.
Nice. So Paul is not the only European here anymore. Sorry, Paul. He fell off the, you don't get to claim that you're bringing culture here anymore. We have different people in the game. Zach, we're
No, it's
happy to
fine.
we're happy
I'll
to
find
have
other
you.
ways to insult you.
I'm sure you will. I'm sure you will. Before we jump forward, and I'll just, tell you guys something about England. So
Oh,
here
here
in
we
the
go.
US, here in the US, they have this popular story about this guy called Ethan Allen. And Ethan Allen he was like a politician and like an entrepreneur when America had its independence. Deal with that, Paul. He used to go travel to Europe to kind of, bring, trades and people to do business, in America and all that. And a bunch of Englishmen invited him, one of the lords at a time, they invited him to their palace to make fun of him, right? So they put the picture like a portrait of George Washington in the restroom, right? And then they said when he goes to the restroom, he's gonna see a picture of George Washington there, and he's gonna know we're making fun of them, of these Americans, right? So, so he went to the restroom. And then when he came back, they expected him to get furious and angry and be like, "How dare you put the picture of George Washington in the loo, right? Is that what you call it, Paul? Loo, something like that." So so, so he didn't say anything, and people were super curious. So people asked him, they were like, what do you think? The likeness of George Washington be where people defecate? He said, no, that's a great idea. Nothing can make an English soldier defecate faster than the sight of George Washington. I love that story. It's beautiful. All right. So, so, so,
Colonials.
so,
Food culture. It's
so
fine. It's fine. We can take back your independence if you want some real culture. You just let us know anytime, all right?
Anyway, so back to what we were arguing about, so Nick, if it was, based on the origins of the language that it's coming from C++, we would have defined our constants like this. We would have went and said, my awesome constant, but we don't do that in C sharp anymore. We actually go and see the standard for it is my awesome constant. So that argument about, oh, that's how C++ works, that's also not true. You know what
I'm
I
not saying
mean?
that it's not true. I don't think it's fair to say it's not true. It's just say it's a convention that people brought over. Now you're
Yeah,
right that the naming convention for C
yeah.
sharp for public items, not private, does
Uh-huh.
define that. You're right
Uh,
about the constants, right? All I'm
uh-huh.
saying is that,
Uh-huh.
we JavaScript and TypeScript, we've dropped the I in front of interfaces. I've evolved to use it. You can evolve too to use properly named things without resorting to this and without having conflicts in your local class. You're a smart guy. I know you can see this on a higher level here. I know you can do it. I believe in you.
You
You
know,
two can write code one day, Hassan.
yeah. Okay, we can talk about
I,
this
I
because
think
we
I
have,
have an internal standard where I use sort of camel case for private variables and anything that's visible outside of the current class, if you like. So if it's say a protected property, for example, I would use the capitalization in there for the first letter.
huh.
Does that make sense? So, but yeah, it's a lot of it is internal preferences, isn't it? Every developer has their own kind of, if you like, theme that they kind of, conventions, if you like, that they like to follow. So obviously within a development team, you'd then have to have a standard. But
That's
yeah,
right. That's right. Anyway, so just fast forward here because I want to give Sam a failing test, you know, and let him live his life, his dream. Let me just update here real quick. So let me actually, I'm gonna increase the display here because I'm gonna pull in some libraries and some magic, and I want you guys to actually see that. So give me a second here. Let me increase the font to
To
175.
collect
Sam,
the code coverage.
what, brother? Go ahead. What did you say?
So the first library used to collect the code coverage.
No. Forget about code coverage. Code coverage is a joke. That's not how you measure actually your system is testing stuff. I use code coverage once when I'm actually about to work with a legacy system to see how terrible it is. But you'll see how we're writing tests. You'll notice that the exact same flow we cross by multiple times. So you wouldn't even need to say, oh, did I cross this intersection or this? Because it's test driven. Like the code would never be written unless a test first actually has been written to kind of justify the existence of that code. But we can run code coverage as well, but it's not a
No. I mean the first package you referenced in your project.
Mm.
It typically used for the code coverage.
Oh yeah, you mean in the one that I just updated right
Yeah.
now? Yeah, I'm just updating the libraries. It's nothing serious. Just
Yeah, I
updating
do
my
want
library.
to do the code coverage now, but I want to share that the first library.
So the one library that I want to use is something called object filler, and I'll tell you what this
Um,
library does in a second. And I also use a nice library here called fluent assertions.
Object filler is, I assume, a lorem ipsum just for objects.
Yeah, but it's really cool because it can give you real people names. It can give you IP addresses, cities, streets, the random data that you want to use. And I don't know what school of thought are you guys going with, but when I write my tests, I like to randomize the input so I can test behaviors, not particular values,
yeah,
right? But
and forgive me, I think I don't like the float assert
you don't
library.
like fluent assertions?
Yeah,
Okay, why?
forgive me, but it's a personal option.
I'm on
Opinion.
Sam's page, but again,
You guys don't
agreeing
like,
that it's a
okay,
personal thing.
Yeah,
how do you guys validate two lists are equivalent to each other? What do you do? Like
Sequence equals.
sequence equals. So you go
Sequence
like,
equals inside a true.
okay, so you go like this and you say, okay, var list one equal new list of string. Oh, not log
Mm-hmm.
of strings. And then var list two equal new list of strings, right? Is that how you do it? And then you go and say assert
True.
true. And then what do you do?
List one sequence equals list two.
One sequence.
You have to import link
Okay, let's do that.
equals, I think. Yeah.
I think it's equal.
Whatever it is.
And then list two like this.
Yeah. So I mean, so here, so let me tell.
No,
So
no,
bear
no,
in mind.
no. Wait. I'm
No,
gonna
no.
take you for a ride right now. Wait. You and I are gonna have fun, Rao. So if I run this like this is gonna go true, right?
It should.
So let's just verify that functionally it's working, and then let's verify that from a readability it's actually working because I want to introduce this to people. Okay, so that functionally it's working, right? So
Yeah.
if I go here and say something like Hassan, and in here I go and say Hassan. Sorry, a little bit of egotistic there, testing with my own name. But let's just run this one more time just to verify. Okay, let's go here. Here we go. Pass. Okay, so this works. So you're saying that this that you just did is better than saying list one should be equivalent to list two. You're saying that this line here is more readable than this line.
So let me make two statements about this, right?
Yeah,
First
big
being
two
that
statements. Tell me.
this general idea of having kind of, it's not about fluent syntax but having some sort of syntax that allows for like some human readable kind of assumption of what the test is doing. I don't necessarily disagree with it. However, I think a lot of them leave out details. I think this is a good example of where we see something leaving out the details. What is equivalent in the case of two lists, right? Are we talking, are they sequences? Are they sets? Are they reference equality? There's nothing there in that particular example. Now, here's the thing. I'm sure that there are Fluent libraries that maybe are more specific. I'm sure that there are, functional libraries that maybe are more specific. Like, for example, there is an assertion library that has an assert collection equals, I forget if it's X unit or N unit or whatever, but it basically says, it's like we're comparing the contents of two collections to ensure that they're equal, right? But it's, in this case, like that kind of those Fluent, listen, if it has the verbosity and functionally it does it, I don't care. In this particular case, I would argue the first one is much more specific, even though the ordering, it may not be as human readable, but it's definitely much more specific about exactly what's being checked. When I say see be equivalent to, I don't get that as someone who's not familiar with the library, right?
Okay.
So because
No.
I don't know if it's sequence, I don't know if it's set based. Because, for example, if you had the first list as Hassan Nick and the second list is Nick Hassan, what is equivalence in that set, right? Like, do we care if it's ordered? Do we care if it's not ordered? Sequence equals the sequence. Sequence implies ordering. I am saying that for better or for worse, I want that ordering to be the same.
But wait. The sequence equal is proposing an additional level of testing that I might not care about by default.
Agreed, but you weren't specific about what you wanted. I'm telling you that specificity exists there in that first test. If you don't want it and the second test gives you that equivalence, then go ahead. But what I'm saying is it is very clearly communicated to me that first line, what exactly it's testing for. Whereas the second line does not say that to me. I don't think that's not a Fluent versus functional type thing.
I understand. Yeah, okay. So this guy here would break because by default it assumes that the sequence should be the same.
Yes.
Sequentially.
Yes.
How do you compare them? How do you tell it, I don't care about the exact order?
So if I don't care about the exact order and those are two inputs, you throw them into a set. Right now, and then you compare the sets, you union with, and you see whatever excludes.
So I have to do more work, you're saying?
It depends on what you're looking for, but it does raise a question about whether or not you're modeling it correctly, right? If you don't care in the thing that you're testing about the order, is a list, is a random bag of things really the thing that you should be, that you want to test again? Is that the right abstraction for what it is that you're doing? Right? Maybe it is, maybe it isn't, right? But in this particular order, it implies that you have a bag of items, which is where order doesn't matter. Well, actually, order does matter, actually, implicitly.
Yeah, but it shouldn't be the default, Nick. It shouldn't be the default thing that
it's built into the type. Lists and read-only implement IEnumerable, which imply sequencing.
Okay, let me ask you this other question though.
Sorry, I'm not trying to get on your shit.
No, you're right. No, let's just say you have a bunch of objects in here and I only want to compare certain properties in every item in that list. How do I get that outside of the box here?
What do you mean compare?
Like let's say your list now is not just strings. It has an object. Let's say this is a dynamic object in it, like this. Yeah. And then I want to only compare certain properties within these objects, not the whole thing. Like in here, I have
map it to a construct that gives me the quality behavior that I want for this test.
See, in here, I don't have to do that. All I have to do is just go and say, well, here's my options, and I want to compare options dot, and I want to compare only particular or ignore particular members.
And that's cool, right? But that's not, so that's a function of that's a piece of functionality that the library offers. That's not an argument for Fluent versus functional. It's an argument for the functionality of that library, which I'm not against, right?
Okay.
I'm just saying, be very specific about what it is that you're testing, right?
Okay.
And what your expectations are. Otherwise, how are your tests really legit if you can't explicitly define what you want your behavior to be?
Okay. All right.
Sorry,
good.
I apologize. I will get off.
I think for me, assert dot and all the methods that come off of that are really basic, and they're designed for testing essentially your scalar values, right? You don't really want to just say, hey, are these two things the same when you've got reference types and they're complex? You want to be, as Nick says, you want to be a lot more focused on what it is that you're checking. You want to delve into those objects and say, hey, are these properties actually equal at the sort of scalar level? So yeah, for me, I think I would avoid the fluent and just stick with the basics, because then all my assertions look the same way in all my tests as well. That's another thing, is consistency of lines of code for me. But yeah, again, it's a programming choice, isn't it? It's a personal. I think Sam had probably got his own reasons, but he was against the fluent.
Sam, what do? You do assert or do fluent assertions, and why? Go ahead.
I prefer to do using the assert dot. My reason is simple. I don't want to type should anywhere and anytime. The same as to type underscore and compared to this dot. I don't want to type more code. And so that's my reason. My reason is simple. I don't want to see should blah blah anywhere for my test.
Okay.
But it's okay. So we can in our library, in our test case, we using the assert and the float assertion both. So it's okay for me. But that's my profile. I don't want to spend much time to discuss this one. It's a personal
Okay,
feeling.
so here's the thing.
Hassan needs content, Sam. He needs the content.
Yeah, we need
right?
the drama. I mean, without the drama, if YouTube content doesn't sell.
And he baited me into like 15 minutes about how to compare two freaking lists, right?
Okay, listen. We're gonna have to. I'm gonna have to shift a little bit of these decisions, but can I just get one goddamn failing test first out, and then we can talk about whatever you want. So here's what I want to do. I want to basically go and say, it doesn't matter what kind of parameterization I want to throw at this. I want to generate, there is this object filler that can give me the chance to generate a random query, just basic query, right? Based on a regex or something like that. Something to the effect of, you can go here and say return new mnemonic string, and this guy will just give you a random string that you can get. And outside of this string, you can determine how many word length, whatever you want to do. And then you can go and say, I want to get the value out of that, like this. But what I want to do here is that I want to specify a regex, something to the effect of, it needs to start with, something like XYZ, and then there will be equal in here, and then there will be, some data in here as well. And we'll start with the simplest one of them all, which is the select. The select basically will take one parameter. Now, it's really important that I say the tokenization service doesn't validate for specific OData protocol models. That's the conversation that Paul was talking about earlier, right? Let's not talk about that yet. I just want to take a bunch of raw strings and turn them into tokens, strongly typed, values that I can work with downstream and do whatever I want with it. If you really want to stay true to a single dependency kind of pattern. So here's what I'm gonna do. Let me just, real quick, I just need a quick refresher into how we gonna generate for a particular regex. Just a second here. I'm gonna go back to Google. Filler generate for a regex string. Let's just do this. Let's see here. So this is who's super excited here about regex? Do you guys like regex a lot?
Oh, it took me like a minute to like, why are you looking at regex? And I was like, oh, you're parsing something, aren't you?
So not for the parsing, but for generating random strings.
Why don't you just use a random number generator and then a string with length, whatever, which has your characters? And then
let's just add this to the list of reasons why Hassan is not going to be here next week.
Yeah.
Just curious, why like, I mean, it could be regex, but didn't you say you had this thing?
I had what?
No, like right now, you said you had a class that'll do this, object filler. Why aren't you using that? Or are you
Well,
trying
well,
to?
yeah, well, the object filler, there is a way that it allow you to generate. I'm just trying to see the API. How do you do it with the API? Like, see, use on property, you can use this particular thing. I'm just trying to
Oh, it
see.
looks like they're trying to like it's like it looks like it's a way of using regexes as a pattern generator.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
That's one way you can use it. That's what I'm trying to do. Like, I want
Okay.
to go here and say, So let's see here, something like let me do this real quick, and then I can find the regex just for the time of this session. I can go here and say, give me this. I want a random operator. Is that what we called the select and filter? Is that what we called it, you guys? Not an operator. What did we call it?
Parameter. OData
Parameter.
parameter.
Right? So this is new get, so mnemonic string.
Your operator, so your equals and greater thans, less thans.
Yep. So this is my parameter here. Just for now, I'm gonna make this a little bit better. And then, so here's my string interpolation here. So that's this guy. And then I can go here also and say string random parameter. No, sorry, you didn't call it a parameter. You called it a random property, right? Let's just start with something simple like this. And I'm gonna go here and say, okay, give me another new mnemonic string with a certain value. See, it doesn't care whether it's a filter or select or whatever the case may be. And then I'm gonna go here and say, okay, give me a random parameter equals, and this is my random property, just for starters until I get the regex, because we're gonna randomize this a lot. Like it's gonna get deeper than that. But let's just go back to the test here, and I'm gonna do this. Here's a fact. Since we're using XUnit. Oh, what do you guys think? Should we use XUnit or MS Test?
XUnit.
X unit.
XUnit. Why? You don't like MS Test too?
Comes out of the box. It's the thing that's pushed forward as the in the like on the command line. There's reasons, I assume. Just stop
Uh-huh.
fighting it, Hassan.
Get a random query, and then string input query, and that's your random query, and then O node. What should come out of this guy? Here we go.
So while Hassan's typing, I got a small story that's related to this. So I was doing soft skills training with about 15 other people, and I was with
Okay.
my manager at the time. And in it, I was challenging a lot of the ways that the organization worked, a lot of the ways we thought about things, and the group was a great place to put it. And we had to do this exercise where everyone picked one word that they could use to describe something else. And my manager said to, and this is like 2 years ago, my manager said to me at the time, like the word he used for me was contrarian. And I'm looking at Hassan and I'm like, oh my God, this is what he meant. Like, so like doing it for the sake of being different.
Yeah, let's do it.
Just use XUnit, Hassan. Just use XUnit. Just stop using this. Make everyone's life easier. I'm just kidding. I mean, not kidding about the story, but do you.
You do you, boo. You got it. Let's do this. So something that I like to call, it's like what do you call it?
Couple.
Euclid's law of axioms, where you basically can go and say, well, things that are equal to the same thing are equal to each other. That's how Lincoln decided to free the slaves in America. It's all Euclid. It's what he basically said. He said, if we're equal to the same thing as in being human, then we're equal to each other. Therefore, everyone should be free. So what I do with unit tests is that when you go with your unit test, you basically go and say, well, if you want to verify that x equal y and that your function is doing that, then you should get x from z and then y from z, and then pass those to your function and let your function do this last piece. Things that are equal to the same thing are equal to each other. Yeah. All right. So let's do that. Let's go here and say, okay, give me random query parameters like this, and these guys are just going to give me back the parameters that I want. So random parameter and my equal sign and my random property like this. You guys are familiar with this? What do you think about this, Sam? Do you hate tuples? Let's talk about that for
I like
It'd be nice
two
if you
minutes.
named them.
Huh?
It would be nice if you named them so
It'd be
people
nice if
know
I
what.
named them. Okay,
I
fine.
mean, you want to talk about things that are self-describing. That
Yeah,
doesn't do anything to describe except that it's a string.
sure,
What do those
sure,
strings mean?
sure. I love it. I love it. Keep it coming.
But the structure itself, I don't care.
Okay, sounds good. And then this is what do you guys want to call the equal, the equivalent
Opera.
operator?
Yeah, opera kind, opera.
Operand, like this?
Yeah.
Okay, Sam. Sounds good. Okay, so I can do this, and I can go back here and I say, okay, I can destruct these guys like this. And this is random query parameters, like this. And I can go here and say, this is my string parameter, string operand, and string, what's the last one? Property. Like this. You guys are familiar with this destruct thing? Nick?
Yeah,
No?
destructure.
Okay. All right.
You guys don't do TypeScript and it shows, or
Yes.
JavaScript.
Yeah, we're C# guys. We do the real thing. You know, TypeScript is just a C# wannabe, right?
Yes. But JavaScript destructuring JavaScript super nice. Like, I mean, that's where JavaScript didn't originate. Its origins are in math, but a lot of it's very, very nice, right? The things that you can do with the destructuring and the expand operators.
Mm-hmm. In TypeScript, yeah.
JavaScript, but TypeScript gives you, in my opinion, a better experience on top of that.
Do you know why I love Blazor? Because I don't have to use JavaScript.
That's probably all I should say
Did you
about
see
that language as well.
I was going to say, did you see the conversation between me and Paul and myself the other
Yes,
night around
yes.
JavaScript?
The calculation.
Where I had to educate him on the
It's a horrible
on the benefits
language.
of it.
A horrible language. C# did it some favors by existing.
I agree with that. I do agree with that sentiment, right? Especially around async await, right? It's clear that C# led the way on async await and how to do continuations on callback, enabled APIs, like on other synchronization contexts.
It's funny.
Absolutely, you see in all sorts of other languages. Sorry?
Did you notice that? The same thing happened in Java as well, because when C# introduced things like generics and lambda expressions and things like that, it took them a few years, but Sun eventually got around to adding those into Java. So C# went from being this new kid on the block to being the trendsetter almost in a lot of various places.
Nice. I mean, we can all agree that Java's implementation of generics sucks because they didn't go and build it into the JVM because they want to use the same JVM from like 20 years ago.
I like James Gosling though. He's a pretty cool guy. James, James Gosling. You don't know who James Gosling is? Not the actor, Nick.
I'm gonna go back to figure out how to do what I got. I know.
I'm gonna have so much fun with you today.
That's fine.
Hassan, focus.
It's
okay.
It's amazing Monday morning.
Yeah, that's my. I have this buddy of mine, Joshua. He hates how perky I get on Monday mornings. He'd be like, "Why are you so happy? It's a Monday morning. Like, why would you be so excited about the world like that? That's just not fair." You know what I mean? So anyway,
We did a deal with the devil. It's all we know. He won't tell us the details.
You suckers. Okay, property and const. All right. This is okay. We're getting in it. We're building the team.
I mean, he didn't deny it,
right? No, you're right. No, I got it. I got it.
I have a question. So why do we hard code the own node generation? So it should be go to the tokenizer, right? You should call the interface to get the own node. We should move the hard code to your own tokenizer.
If you give me just 1 second, this is just the expected. This is
Okay,
not the
go ahead.
actual thing. This is just the expected. You guys are too excited. You're perky. You're the one that's perky right now. That's the thing. We have a problem. Okay.
Okay.
Anyway, that's an operator, and then the value of this operator would be the parameter. Hold on. Did you guys say that the select? Okay, fine. Fine. Okay, parameter. Got it. Operator and property and constant. Okay, nice. I like that. And then we can go here and say, this guy has children. And that will be a new list of O nodes. And these guys will have a new O node. I'll talk to you guys about this in a bit, but you know, I'm also having a feeling like I should just make it all dynamic objects, but I don't want to freak you out yet. Yeah.
And you were weren't you just shit talking against JavaScript and TypeScript? Like,
yeah,
which essentially are dynamics, right?
yeah.
I would just declare the dynamic object structure in the same structure that we had in the JSON, and then you can literally just compare property by property, iterate over the tree, basically.
But Paul, this is a very risky kind of move because how are you gonna do? I guess the serialization. I need to see if this is easily serializable. Like if people want to get it out of the tokenization service in JSON. It shouldn't complain. It shouldn't, but I need to try it. I did try this out when I serialized dynamic models into service bus queues, and then I picked it up and serialized it on the other side. It could work. It could work. Let's just take it one thing at a time. Let me just give Sam the failing test, and let's see Sam what he's gonna do with his life. Sam, you want a failing test? Okay.
Failing test?
The failing test. Huh?
So
okay.
your root node should be O node type root, right?
Oh, that's right. That's right.
That should have one child of whatever the parameter is.
You're
so
right.
input query is your first part.
And would you also call it like Paul? Would you also call it in and of itself? Would you call the type of it root? You're just calling it root.
I think I would. Yeah, I'd just say like, hey, that's always going to be the thing that you begin with at the root of your query.
Sounds good.
Kind of makes sense.
And what would its value be? Nothing. It just doesn't have a value, right?
Well, it's just kind of really a container. It's basically a way of saying, hey, this is the entire OData URL that we're consuming.
Just curious, why would we not?
Why do you need it?
No, like, why, because I don't like the idea of not having a value, right? Like, it's kind of, there's something it's about like the typing, right? Like we're going to have it raises a question, should a token always have a value, right? If it
what do you want to put in there for the?
Well,
I'm okay with it.
We should have a specific type to represent the full query, and then the nodes are the individual parts, are the individual sections of the query. And then from there you can go
generic. So
at the very top level you have OData query, and that OData query has a sequence of nodes, which can be
you want to put the query there and then you move on from there. Okay, I'm okay with that.
Like at the very top level, I think there should be some typing, but if you want to special case it, but I don't like where you start where you start special casing where a value can have something based on this, when in reality you can just get around it with some better modeling.
I wasn't inferring that there would be any special rules on a root node. I was just saying, hey, that's always your start point, essentially, and that you always got one base node that you begin from and then you iterate.
Okay.
Right, but like I said, it begs the question then, what are your rules around value? And because Hassan went and threw out the nullability checks, we have no freaking clue
Oh, you'll
about what
see.
the what the expectations around value should be.
Shut it. I'll show you in a second. You quit your nonsense. Your New
Doesn't matter.
Yorker.
We're throwing all this away next week. So
It's true. It's just gonna be spans of characters and indices everywhere.
Yeah.
Operator, property, and then we have the operand, which we don't care about, but we keep that query, and then your parameter is whatever that may be. Nice. Good job, Hassan. Thank you, guys. It's very, very, so actual, this is expected node, this is actual node. And then here, this will be the service dot tokenize, and this will take the input query, which means that your actual node should, sorry guys, you're just gonna have to deal with life, you know. Here you go, Sam. Here's a failing test for you. You want it? You wanna make it pass?
You know,
It's not implemented for the tokenize.
Yeah, of course. That's how you write failing tests. That's test driven. You write a failing test first, and then I give it over to you. I make a commit like this, and I say this, you know, thin arrow fail.
Can we talk about the
This
disparity?
is a failing
in,
test.
like,
So you write a failing test. So let us to make it a success.
Yeah, that's test driven. That's how it works. You write a failing test first, and then the other person makes it pass, and then you will write a failing test, and then I will make it pass. It's ping pong. You know what I mean? Yeah, one second. Stay with me, guys. 1 sec.
So do you play ping pong? Where is
Also, mind you, it's much easier to create a failing test than it is to just say, "Oh, by the way, go make this implementation work." Like, can we talk about the disparity?
just like
Well, that's gonna be my turn. Like, he's gonna make that test pass, and then he's gonna write his failing test, and then I'm gonna make it pass. It's called
Okay,
ping pong. Ping
gotcha.
pong.
Okay,
Yeah.
that I can be down with.
Did you
That's
guys-
more
did you guys-
equitable.
Wait a second, just out of
Oh,
curiosity.
wait, the highlight is going to be when, you know, because I have every confidence that Sam's going to nail this and he's going to get the test to pass. I want it's got to be like a full hour-long episode on when Hassan gets the failing test from Sam, and we see Hassan go and like
Sure.
implement. I
mean-
want to see all of these contrarian views coalesce into like this, like just Hassan, you don't get in 5 minutes. Like, you know, you're like,
I mean, brother, if you go to my YouTube channel, that's like all I do every day, all day for 21 years.
Yeah.
What are you
He
talking
spends a
about?
month talking about it and then an hour writing some code.
Exactly. You know how to continue to code while people are still, you know, kind of discussing what they want to do? Run like 20 projects at the same time, right? So at any point in time, every day you will get to code, and every day you will get to design, and every day you will get to have fun with a bunch of engineers. That's
And
why
now
you're
we know why
maximizing.
Microsoft buys so many companies, because Hassan just takes on a new project and they go, "Oh, we need a company now to deal with this." Because Hassan's not going to do it. He's just going to talk about it.
Exactly. So Sam, do you want to make it pass? Do you feel like working with me today?
I wish I will.
Okay, let's go. Share your screen. Let's write some code, son. The day is almost over. It's 9 o'clock. What are you talking about?
And take you 5 minutes, won't it, Sam?
You want to
But be
share my
careful.
screen?
Yeah, but be careful. The code that you write should be just enough to make the test pass.
So can you push the code? So
Brother,
I
it
can
is.
download the code.
It is. It's in the branch called Foundations-Tokenization. I love that. It's like we're writing a rap song. Intellectual invasion, tokenization to every foundation, every nation, I'm raging. Let's go.
I am from New York. Do not do that again, please.
We'll add that to the list of reasons why Hassan's not going to be here next week.
Wait a
If
second.
I had to write a review, that'd be the first thing in it. Like this.
You're showing your
And
Mhm.
26 years in the Bronx.
26 years. Oh my
15
god.
something, you know, like 10 something in Brooklyn.
But
Like,
wait,
and
you don't
10
You
in
don't have,
Queens. And by the way,
okay.
Bronx, KRS-One, Africa Bambaataa, Brooklyn, Jay-Z, Biggie, Queens, Nas. We're talking about like, don't do that. Oh, Queens. I forgot about Mobb Deep. Anyway, please don't.
How come you don't have a New Yorker accent? I'm surprised.
I don't know. It's something I get a lot from a lot of people. I mean, I grew up in the Bronx, like the northernmost section of the Bronx. I went to a fairly integrated high school. I don't know. I grew up with like hip hop and whatnot, like my whole life, right? That was like, I was in New York from that like start. So I was born in '75, as most of you know now. Around the time that hip hop started to evolve, like started to evolve and become its own thing. So yeah, but anyway, I don't know. I don't know. I couldn't tell you. Maybe it's because both my parents were from like more rural areas out in like the Midwest. So my father was from Western Pennsylvania. My mom was from Michigan. I don't know. Maybe.
Okay. Sam, share only Visual Studio. Don't share your internal Microsoft email communications, please. How you doing,
nobody
Zach?
wants
You
to
having
know
fun
Just
with
share
these guys?
Yes, yes, of course.
That's basically every day for me. Like this is how I work with my team. You know, we just hop in, we talk about whatever, and there's still code going through, but we're just chatting and
Yes.
having fun, and you know, you get a Nick every now and then. So Nick, say 50. Nick, say $50. Say $50.
$50.
See, no accent. You're
It's
supposed to say
yeah. I'm not.
Zola.
You won't catch me saying
Zola.
50. Like that's not the thing. Like I won't be saying 50 or 350. Right? Like you won't
Yes,
catch me.
yes. Paul is like, these guys ruined
Paul doesn't know
English.
what's going on.
These guys ruined
I'll
English.
say
I don't know.
this: the hip
We
hop
gave you a
slash
perfectly good language, and all you did was break
They
it.
ruined it. They ruined it.
the hip hop scene out of
How about this
London
one?
currently is really pretty tight. I've been listening to some of the things that have been coming out of like the London scene. It's really, really good. You have some very talented people out there, like doing some real. I mean, I don't know if Paul's up to date. Sorry, I also used to be a DJ in addition to all the other things I used to do.
Wait a second. You don't know if Paul is talented? What are you?
No, I'm saying I don't know if Paul is familiar with the hip hop scene out of London and the UK. Is what I'm saying. I
Definitely
don't know if
not
that's the
talented,
genre that he
Hassan.
listens
That's why I'm here. I have no clue what I'm talking about. I come to pick Zach's brains, obviously.
Sam, what happened to Sam? The brother ran. He just said, I'm done with this.
You've done him in. Oh no, I've got to work.
Sam is like, I'm out of here. I don't want to do this. I don't care about these guys. Sam, come over here. I'm sorry, man. I won't give you failing tests anymore. I'll just give you passing tests.
Please come back.
My favorite part is when someone just goes into a failing test and they just type in there, skip. And I'm like, skip why? You know, I just sit down and I say, skip, why skip? And they'll be like, well, you know, we're not ready for it yet. I say, if we're not ready for it, let's not write it at all. You know, when we're ready, we'll write the test. We're like, well, can I just merge my code now? And then later we could talk about what we can do. I'll be like, nah, we're not going to do that.
I used to have a coworker who would comment out sections of code and say like, "Oh, we need this. We'll need this later." I said, "No, you delete it. This is
code
why
hoarders.
you have source.
Yeah.
This is why you have source repositories. Why you have
Yeah.
history. If you need it, you go back in the history and you get it. Otherwise, get it out of here. I don't want it in here."
So Sam, you are sharing your screen, except that you're sharing us. So you went into the multiverse right now, as you can tell. We're in the multiverse. Just share visual. Just Visual Studio, bro. Just Visual Studio.
Yeah, I haven't opened my Visual Studio, so let me open it.
Okay.
We're in the best of hands here.
I just changed my mouse. My why it can't work.
You had this mouse with the ball. You still had that one? Is that what it is? Okay, Sam.
I used to take those out. I loved
Do
cleaning.
you remember?
them.
Yes, me too. Me too. Normally back in the day when someone does something bad, I just take the ball out, just throw it at him. Like, here, you're the reason why I'm not working today. I remember when I worked in this company in Dubai, we took them all out and we played like the marbles where you play the marbles in the
Yeah.
street. We started doing that, and the manager came, be like, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
And a week later, the wheel was discovered.
Mm.
I feel like it has to be said.
Yeah. Any minute now, Sam. It's really simple. Just make it pass. I'm here. I got you, brother.
It has only taken, Hassan, 6 weeks to write one unit test, but it's okay. You got 5 minutes, all right?
Literally 5 minutes. So
Okay.
Mhm. While Sam is doing this, I'll just go back here.
You should come here and
Then I tell you, make sure you just get the right branch though. So our branch is users Hassan Habib Foundation tokenization. It'll help us a lot find the branches that we're looking for. But this
share
should be very,
screen.
very. Okay, are you
Window.
sharing now? Okay, sharing means caring, and caring means sharing.
Now we can share.
All right, go to the branch now. Users, remote, 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 and then Hassan. Just type
Where's
Hassan in
one?
there.
This one?
That's the one. Yay! We can search or we can just look for it with the naked eye. That works too. All right, now run the test and see it fail, and let's do the do. Let's do the do.
Logic.
Yep, that's the one.
Yes.
Yay!
Oh, that's your code.
Yes, that's my code. God help us all.
Let's build.
Delete keys on the right-hand side, yeah?
A bit harsh, I thought.
I use this one.
I'm still sick, but you guys are making me feel much better. I'll tell you that much. I'll tell you that, get you kind of
Excuses.
Last week I was saying, oh guys, sorry, I'm not gonna join. I feel sick. And I knew in my head Nick would be like, oh, I'm so sick. I'm sorry. I can't handle code, you guys.
What, just Nick?
Whatever, Paul. Whatever. Paul, you gotta be in my army. Ooh, Sam, you have a failing test. What's that all about?
That's your hard code. It's failing.
Yep, it's failing.
So
what are we gonna do?
What should I do?
So the expected is that you're gonna get a simple query, random query, and you're supposed to match that expected O node that's coming out from the other side, as the test indicates. Welcome to test-driven development, Sam. Let's do it.
I believe the remit was make the test pass. So if you just comment outline 53, we're all good.
That's true.
He did say make the test pass. He didn't say how. So
right.
Oh my god.
I just copy this one to the Tokenization Service.
Go for it. Go for it. Do just the bare minimum. See, because it's test driven, I will continue to make my test more complex to make sure that the code just goes exactly the place where we want it to be. And then you can laugh at the folks that say, oh, we need test coverage.
It's funny. When you were writing your random string builder earlier, it got me thinking about, do you remember PEX?
PAX?
No, PEX. P-E-X.
PEX. Doesn't ring a bell.
It was a Microsoft thing, if I remember rightly. You could write a test that accepted a set of parameters, and it would generate randomly inputs into that test method, and it would execute it. You could execute it like thousands of times. And the framework would just do that.
They have that. The X unit does that. They have theory and they have what was Eagle was showing me the other day. He
Link in
had
the
this,
chat.
huh? You
Link in
just
the
put
chat. It was a Microsoft research project.
six. Oh, nice. You guys,
Yeah,
I didn't
it
even,
was like way back, like many moons ago. I feel old again now. We're talking about back in creation of the wheel times, but yeah, I found it kind of fascinating that
okay.
drama.
All right.
But yeah, it was just like your approach was just like, oh, this is very PEX like. It just got me thinking about
Well,
it.
they
All.
did hire me, so there is a
Yeah.
reason. I'll be like, well, he's not exactly where we want him to be, but he'll do it.
Are you claiming responsibility for it?
Yes. I'll take it. I'll take a hit for the team.
Oh dear.
Make the
Another-
test pass.
Look at that. Can I see the
Hey.
implementation?
It's hardcore.
Love it.
That's okay. We will evolve it a little bit. We will evolve it a little bit. So you split based on the equal, and you went
Yeah.
and said, yeah, that's good enough for me. And then we're gonna, now you're gonna need to write a test, Sam, or that will be tomorrow then. You need to write a test, like this exact same test that I have here. We're gonna evolve it a little bit. You're not gonna rewrite a new one. You're just gonna evolve it a little bit.
Hello. Okay.
No, just the same one.
Yeah.
But what
I
what
know.
but what we're gonna do tomorrow, just hear me out. This one
Uh,
here is just me saying, oh, here's a simple one for you, right? We
mhm.
need to evolve this to the point where it's generating all kinds of different permutations of queries, and we want to see how the test is going to handle this. You know what? On a second thought, if it makes it a lot more readable and simpler, let's write a new test tomorrow. And this test will basically propose something a little bit harder. Like you don't have just an operand and a property anymore. You actually have an operand and a property and something else. Like when you say filter equals, name, EQ, Sam, right?
Oh, what about just multiple properties?
Just random multiple properties.
Yeah,
I like that.
like a select statement with multiple properties. Although the way that
Ooh.
you've done it, you might not necessarily have select,
the
right?
copy one, right? It's maybe.
Sure. So Sam, let's do that. Give me a failing test.
Yeah.
That
Your failing test should tokenize multiple floats.
Yeah, go
So
for
just
it.
add property again on the end of your query, right? So on.
It's like give you the just dollar field equal.
No. Line 63, just add property again on the end of
line
the
63.
interpolated string. Yeah.
With a comma, right, Paul? With a comma,
Yeah.
right?
Just
Yeah.
comma property again.
Mhm.
There you go. And then just run that.
No, just a property. Just property, Sam.
Just property.
You know how when you say select name, age, name, comma, age, exactly the same thing. Boom.
That's
there
right.
you go. Yeah, but I also want that list to be random. Now I'm being a jerk.
Obviously, there's a bit of an issue here, right? Because these tests are all essentially select tests.
It should failed, right?
Yeah, we'll evolve them. That's how we're building it. It's rewritable, right? Go ahead.
Yeah.
You're not. This is why I was like, yeah, you joke, but I'm actually like a lot of these things will continue to be rewritten and evolve until it reaches to the point where it's actually doing full tokenization. There you go. Give me that.
So, what I did is make this test pass and create a failing test for you.
Right, but I need you to do one tiny thing for me, please, Sam. Cut that new test that you just wrote. Just cut it from the page.
Cut.
Yeah, cut it, and then clean up that extra line that you have. Okay, and then in the commit message, write the passing test name with a thin arrow that says pass.
Where?
So that, yeah, you see that should tokenize raw query? Do you see that guy?
Should tokenize this one?
Yeah. Put that in the commit message. Thin arrow, space, thin arrow, space. Thin arrow, thin arrow. No, just a thin arrow, just a minus larger than.
Hyphen, right arrow,
yeah.
pass.
and then type just pass all uppercase. An arrow, Sam. Let me type it in the chat. Here. There it is. Something like this. Should tokenize raw query pass. Just like this, Sam. Yep, just copy that message and just slap it in there.
Pass. Just like this one?
No, just copy the
Alright,
message
alright.
he sent you. God damn it, Sam. Let's go.
So it's
Okay.
a first time to understand your logic.
That's okay. Now do commit all. Just type commit all. Just hit the button on commit all.
I try to verify it's pass again.
Fine. That's okay. I don't know, you know,
Commit
nobody.
all and push?
No, not push. Just commit all. Just a commit.
Just commit all?
Yeah.
Okay.
And now paste that test that you cut earlier, or do Control Z really. Yep. And then run that test and make sure it fails.
So I know. So it's
Yep.
failed.
And then fail. There you go. And then commit all and then commit all and push.
Commit all and push.
There you go, my friend. You made it.
Okay.
Welcome aboard. Look alive.
I finished.
It's okay, brother. You're getting used to it. It's just a little culture around the code that makes sure everyone's contributions are accounted for. I see a lot of fools. They go and squash their commits and lose the entire history behind how the code was written. There's absolutely no evidence that the code was actually test driven if people just go and kill it all, like squash all the commits. You know, have you guys ever seen someone go like whip and then completed? How did that code come to be? Only God knows, right? Anyway,
it was in progress and then it was completed.
And then it was completed, right? Somehow
it was in progress and then it was completed.
Hassan, can you figure out what what's required legally for us to contribute code? Because I think it would be a neat exercise if we bounce this around some of the other contributors.
You want to do 3 amigos, 4 amigos, 5 amigos? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Legally for the .NET Foundation, nothing. Just make sure your company is happy with it. This is why we made it open source. So you can just
You'll never find who I work for.
No, it's okay. They're fintech, so I'm already not interested. But yeah, legally, if you want to contribute to this, the only people that you want to be happy with is the people that you're working with now. You want to tell them, hey, what's your moonlighting policy? Am I allowed to contribute to this? You guys gonna find, just to understand, building any project according to the standard is something super enjoyable. Like, you wouldn't believe, you know, how amazing it is to pass code back and forth while you're having the discussion and building the code. Something more enjoyable than anything you've ever seen. I'll tell you that much. All right. With that in mind, thank you so very much, you know, for coming in today, you guys. I appreciate you. Zach, welcome aboard. Happy to have you join our little session. You better download and install Visual Studio and start writing them some code. This is not a charity case. Okay? All right, so this is
Someone's got to do the work.
You know,
it's not going to be Hassan.
It's not going to be me. I'm just going to be doing the talking. That's for sure. I appreciate you all so much. Thank you so much. Let's just keep going at this and see how far we can go. And just like I said to you, just try to have fun. It's fun. And, you know, for people watching us, of course, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you probably will after this particular session. You know, feel free to drop a comment in the comment section. I'm going to disable the comment section so you can't actually ask any questions. And don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you guys in another video. Thank you so much. I appreciate you all. Take care. Bye.
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 Bye-bye.